Today's a good day because Kari's here, Kari Gormley, and you're calling from where?
Wilmington, Delaware.
Of course, and I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and we haven't met directly before, but we're both in a program called the Center Certificate of Applied Positive Psychology, CAPP. And you're one of those balls of fire. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you. Thank you for that, Doug, and thank you for asking me. I do a lot of different things. Right now, I'm hosting my podcast. So I will be continuing doing that. It's called The Running Lifestyle Show. And it's all around creating a way of life for the long run. And I've been doing it for 3.5 years. I have over 200 episodes, and it's changed my life. It has given me the ability to talk to so many experts around how to create a healthier life, what habits to pay attention to. I've had the opportunity to meet amazing listeners of the show, create some friendships, and through researching guests and being so curious, FYI, curiosity is number 2 for me on VIA, is I eventually found Amelia through 3 different interviews that eventually led to her. And once I came about her work, I knew I wanted to be part of the CAP program because I had already started reading about positive psychology, and it's really made a world of difference.
So you're one of those extraordinary people who brings expertise from sales and from, I just learned, running and buying books in bookstores that turned you on to positive psychology. And now you're doing something in coaching, learning to be a certified, positive psychology coach?
Yes. So at the end of the program with Amelia, which ends in about 2.5 weeks, it will be considered a certified applied positive psychology coach. So basically through her accreditation within the Flourishing Center, and then the background, the education we received through Amelia and some of the mentor hours will be applied to getting their certification with the International Coaching Federation. I believe that, that's the name. So I'm on my way to that and enjoying the coaching process, and have 7 years of facilitation, and then of course interviewing skills. So I love to talk with people and hear their knowledge.
That's evident. Well, we can chat about ICF at any time, the International Coach Federation. I've been active for 20 years with them. However, let's stay on you. So you just referenced this thing called VIA, the Values in Action. It's now called VIA, and one of your signature strengths, you said number 2 is curiosity.
Yes.
Do you have top 5, Kari?
I do, and it's up to you. I realize I'm in your space here, but just throwing it out there. On my podcast, I actually asked some of the guests to take the test, the VIA, and then maybe 2/3 of the way through, I then try to play the guessing game, and not always the greatest. And so I'm guessing. Some of them are right. And as you know, sometimes you guess and it's a compliment. So I wonder, can we hold off on that and see what you think later on? And perhaps I can guess yours if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, should be easy. Awesome. They're also on my email signature. So lately,
oh my gosh, how did I miss that?
I've been sharing this as a way to educate folks. So let's go to curiosity, because you mentioned it, and it's one of yours. You already gave that one away. And my question would be, how have you, with a client, shown your curiosity as a strength? So you've leveraged that in maybe an intervention or I don't know, some way. How have you leveraged your curiosity?
Well, one is it's actually asking the client to take the VIA. It's one of the first things I do. And a lot of the listeners of my podcast have taken the quiz, and I get the results sometimes that they choose.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
And so that's really fun. And I do see commonalities. And it also, I use it as a way, obviously as a coach, the person you're coaching has all the answers. They obviously know themselves the best. Sometimes I'll use it once we've exhausted the brainstorming, meaning their ideas. And then I'm like, I don't know. I don't have any more ideas. What do you think? A lot of times I'll try to tie in those strengths, and maybe I'm using some of that sales skills from before, which FYI, as Danielle Pink says, and I clearly believe this, we all sell. If you want to go to a certain restaurant and you're a librarian, but you want to go to this restaurant, I think you're still selling that you want to go to this restaurant instead of a different one, even though you're a librarian. So
Right.
anywho, I like to point out those values and to name them. I think it's a beautiful way to interact with someone.
Me too.
Yeah, it gives a whole new vocabulary, and it's not saying, okay, just focus on these strengths and your life's going to be great and forget about habits and forget about this and that. It's saying, no, it's saying, how can we complement what you're already doing naturally? And how can you do more of that? And guess what? You can still work on, a weakness, because we know ideally we want to focus on our strengths, but if there's certain weaknesses, our strengths can't always overcome that.
I'm glad you mentioned that. There's some critics. For instance, if you go to the Gallup website, they'll say, we only need to focus on strengths. Well, that's not empirically true. You have weaknesses. Even I have weaknesses. We've all got weaknesses, so let's celebrate the weaknesses. Let's look at it in a more balanced way in which we can use these assessments to help us prevent derailing behaviors.
Yeah.
Can I do a nerdy thing?
Yeah.
I want to endorse this guy. He's
Oh.
the CEO of Hogan Assessments, which I've used for 10 or 15 years. Tremendous book. And he addresses that point. Since I'm guessing love of learning is one of your top 5 with zest and curiosity, maybe that would be a book you'd like. I'll send it to you later if you want.
Please do.
Yeah, it's a good reference. So let's, how do you think you're going to use positive psychology, say, in the next 3 to 5 years? You've got the certification. You're going to develop your coaching business, I think. What else?
My dream, and it's funny because I have this picture of my dream in the corner, the auspicious corner, and I like feng shui. I'm not saying you do this and this is going to happen. I know scientifically you can't prove it, but putting it out there, and great things have happened out of that corner, certain interviews I've gotten. And I have this dream that I love connection. I love speaking in front of a group, and I sound like Martin Luther King, but I have this goal, putting it out to the universe, of having quarterly get-togethers and workshops and leading some of those and coming together with like-minded people and heart-centered people, and then having the opportunity to connect via Zoom, be it twice a week. I strongly believe, from my background of 7 years as a facilitator and Weight Watchers, to the power of habit and connecting with others, that most people can't do it on their own. I can tell you from helping thousands of people lose weight, the ones who successfully take it off and keep it off are the ones who are coming on a consistent basis. They're not Sally who's weighing in and she leaves. Like, that's not happening.
Right.
And so I feel passionately about having this connection. That's why I love CAP so much, is that we had those weekends in person, and then we also had every week. So my real goal is to come together with like-minded people quarterly and then do this via Zoom.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, let's dance together. Let's make that thing happen. All right. So how do people communicate with you? How do they find you? What's your website or whatever?
Yeah. So right now, the chunk of my information is all at therunninglifestyle.com. And that's housed, is where my podcast is housed. And I am doing some things in the future, real soon, around a flourishing experiment. I'll just tease it with that.
Nice.
As you know, everything's a work in progress, but until we put it out there and put, a stake in the ground and say, this is the date, it doesn't happen. Kind of like with a race, you sign up for that date and you work up that date. So.
Perfect.
Oh, you know what? Hey, we didn't guess this values. Can we do that?
Here we go.
Okay, so maybe that's a sign. Okay, who do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, guessing you. Okay, so my guess with you, top 5, no particular order, is I think you're probably really high on judgment, on perspective, social intelligence. I would also say kindness, and I would say, can I give 3 more?
You go.
Yeah, because they're curiosity, love of learning, and did I say gratitude already?
I don't think so.
And gratitude.
The list is getting pretty long.
Okay, but we always look at our top 8. Remember, it's ideally the top 5, but sometimes you can really focus up to the top 8.
I like it when you bend the rules, right? Because it is to say that there are rules. So we know that there's.
Exactly. And we're agile. Look how we're recording a different thing. That's if we've learned anything in CAP, that's what I think we've learned.
So you and I know, but viewers might not, that there's 24 signature strengths, that they are cross-culturally validated, but they can vary over time. And sometimes when Kari was here, Kari might be a little bit different on a whatever the image is. So most recently when I took it, it said creativity, hope, perspective, honesty, and zest. Previously it was a little bit different. Yeah. The point of this is to give us a glossary, I think, as coaches, as consultants, to help leverage the strengths that we see in other people. Relationships matter.
Yes. Hashtag other people matter.
So I already mentioned curiosity for you. Zest comes to mind, vitality. Maybe perspective, open-mindedness. I assume appreciation of beauty and excellence. Something maybe about persistence, because you're a runner.
Yeah, and you know what the funny thing is, yes, I'm a runner and I've run 6 marathons, but now I run about 3 times a month. That's not a week, a month. So things change over time. Okay, number 1 is creativity. So yay for us creatives. And then of course, number 2 is curiosity. 3 is love of learning. Absolutely. And that's why I'm obsessed with my podcast, and it allows so much of those strengths to come through. Number 4 is humor. And that's something where both my parents have humor is actually their number 1. My son has it as number 4. My husband has it lower, much lower. So it's interesting, you know, how opposites attract. And then number 5 is forgiveness, which, you know, if I may just share a quick story, because it was kind of surprising. I had a conversation with a friend yesterday and used the nonviolent communication as we learn, right? I have these feelings, and make sure to use a feeling word and not like something that isn't. When this happened in the future, could you do this? And we had this really long conversation, and my friend was definitely apologetic. And later on she said, and she's about 16 years older than me, and sometimes feels, might even come across as more mentorish. Anyway, she asked me, she shared with me she didn't think I was very forgiving, which probably meant I wasn't forgiving in myself. And I chose not to share my via because the via says the direct opposite. So it's interesting how you can perceive each other. And I've been told many times zest is number 8 or 9. So it's interesting. And that proves a point too, to ask other people to tell you how they see you, because you see yourself a certain way, but others see you a different way.
Right. And it's that difference between your awareness and others' awareness that creates hidden strengths or blocks.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, Kari, thanks.